Young and the Restless holds steady in 5th place in my rankings, the same as it was in April. It is in May. It held steady because the two main stories have still been good enough for me. And I don't really think any of the soaps below Young and the Restless in the rankings did enough to surpass it yet, although I do think it could be on the horizon. Somebody at CBS really pushed Josh Griffith to really get his shit together. He was not writing a soap opera for the past year plus. He was writing a bunch of boring nonsense that nobody really cared about, like after school special type shit, Hallmark movie. That's what it's been called on the internet, and they were very right about that. But he had to step up his game, I guess, or he was probably going to lose his job. And he decided to write some good enough stories here. But the real thing is that the characters Diane and Ashland brought the energy that needed to be brought to the show these past few months. Susan Walters, who plays Diane, is doing a hell of a job in her return, and she's really showing that Mara West was miscast as Diane when Diane came aboard Young and the Restless. And Mara West is a great actress. I loved her on As the World Turns, and she does her thing on General Hospital too. But she did not fit on the Young and the Restless as Diane. Susan Walters is Diane, and she's showing that now the way she's playing Diane, bringing energy to the show, being the most fascinating part of the entire show. And Robert Newman did this a few months ago when he was recasted as Ashland. He brought a new energy to the show as well. So these two, Robert Newman as Ashland and Susan Walters as Diane, bringing the energy this show needed so badly. Diane's been trying to get back in good graces with Jack and Kyle. And of course, there's Phyllis, who's been pushing against it. Phyllis, being her usual obnoxious, annoying self, can't stand. I've talked about this before. Hate the character of Phyllis. Always have, always will. And the portrayer has a lot to do with that as well. But not a fan. And the way Phyllis is acting in this, hate it. One of the most annoying parts of the story, even though it still kind of works. At the beginning of the month, I was getting annoyed that Allie wasn't showing up. She kind of just disappeared after Chemo died, and she's supposed to be Jack's grandchild. But she came aboard and finally met the Abbott family. I don't know where they're going enough with Allie, but they seem to be testing Allie and Noah. I can go for that. Noah needs something from being his fucking boring, depressed self. But that coupling has the potential to be boring as well, unfortunately. But I like the character of Allie, and I hope they keep up with her, this show and the track record of minorities in recent history isn't very good, and I don't like it. I talked about last week how they are setting up the two main stories for the Abbotts and the Newmans, but it would be great if they can set that up for the Winters family as well, and the black characters on the show. They don't put the same effort into that storyline as they have into these two, and we see that. They were having a business meeting with the Winters family and Billy, and it was not really going anywhere. It was not relevant. I don't know why Young and the Restless continues to tell bad business stories. I get that Bal, the writer back, did a great job of that between Victor and Jack and all the Abbotts and the Newmans. He used to do pretty good business stories, but the writing was way stronger back then, and Josh Griffith's writing is not strong. All he seems to do with the business stories is have business mergers, but it doesn't work. It's stupid, and it's not good TV. But I still think the Diane part of the show is by far the best part. I like how Diane calls Phyllis out on her shit to Jack, how Phyllis is basically marking her territory with Jack, and she's not wrong. Over at the Newman side of things, Victoria did not want to be united with Adam at Newman, and instead made Nikki co-CEO, kind of frustrating Adam as he was the one that came up with the plot to get Ashland out of Newman in the first place. We also have a new Summer. Summer has been recast. I like her so far. We'll see what comes of that. I think Summer and Kyle are another boring couple, though. That's kind of the curse of Young and the Restless, is that all of their couples are very boring. But another thing that Young and the Restless seems to be getting right is setting up Ashland and Diane together. Possibly they finally met each other. They seem to be getting along. They have a lot in common. This is the natural progression of the story that should be told, is Diane and Ashland maybe working together. Like, they are the pariahs of Genoa City. Let's come together in a force to be reckoned with. That's what I want to see. Victor, of course, has been running his mouth to Ashland. Victor gets on my nerves half the time, too. Not as annoying as Phyllis, though. But I would love to see Diane and Ashland work together to make some big blows to the Abbott and Newman family. That would be good television, in my opinion. They seem to be... excuse me. They seem to be setting that up. So I hope they keep going in that direction. Victor is possibly thinking of using Harrison in his battles against Ashland, Kyle's son, which is Ashton's grandson. So that's another part of the story. But something Young and the Restless did that actually shocked me was they had a cat fight. Like, Young and the Restless is really trying to be a soap opera again. It is shocking to me, honestly, that Young and the Restless had a cat fight between Diane and Nikki. I loved every second of that. That is some a classic soap opera staple, is a cat fight. Diane and Nikki were having a war of the words. Diane slapped her, Nikki slapped her back, and they started to get into it until Victoria had to break it up. I was very entertained by that. And it's another sign to me that somebody must have lit a fire under Josh Griffith's ass, because we have not seen any kind of spark like that on Young and the Restless in years. So, really enjoyed that. And I had to keep Young and the Restless at 5th place because Griffith is still trying to keep his job. I still don't think he deserves to keep it, but we have enough that is set up well right now that is probably going to keep him around for a while. But he better thank Susan Walters and Robert Newman for keeping his job, because they've been bringing it to the canvas. They have kind of brought an energy back to the cast that was sorely needed and sorely missing, because the cast kind of got content with all the boringness that was happening too. But they are back alive right now, and this is the best Young and the Restless has been in quite a few years, in my opinion. But there's still a long way to go. I want them to take the time to actually maybe put effort into the winter stories as well. I know they're kind of teasing Nate and Amani and maybe an affair there. I'd be down for it. I like those two together. But I just need more from them. And I hope they continue to do the natural progression of this story with Diane and Ashland as like great characters that take on these moral superiority characters on the canvas, because I think that would be good television. So I hope they write this right and don't make it fall apart. We also had Tessa Mariah's wedding, which I think it worked for the most part. I still think they could use better writing as well, though, to actually be an entertaining couple. We had Ray's memorial. That was flat as fuck. I mean, Jesus. No flashbacks or anything. But all in all, it was good enough to stay in 5th place. I like the effort that I'm seeing, but I still need more. And I hope they actually keep up on this path over the summer and don't fall back into that boring shit show that it was for the past 2 years.